prisoner Beckett is visited by a priest in jail, who is surprised at how at ease Beckett is, given that he will be put to death in a few hours. This might be the last time Beckett can have a meaningful conversation, the priest notes. Beckett therefore agrees to share his story. Beckett's mother, Mary, is the source of this art. She is a member of the wealthy Long Island Redfellow family. She is therefore the owner of a $19 billion fortune. At a party when she is 18, she runs into Beckett's father, who is just a regular band member. She falls in love with him right away, and the two start a covert relationship, but she also ends up pregnant. Her father gives her two choices because he believes she is a disgrace: move out or end the pregnancy. Mary relocates to a typical New Jersey neighborhood because she won't give up her baby. Beckett's father suffers a pulmonary embolism at the sight of the baby when she gives birth. In the hospital, he consequently dies. She currently works as a secretary in the Department of Motor Vehicles and is a single mother. She tells Beckett every day that she was expelled from the house but not the inheritance. The next oldest person in line would inherit the entire Redfellow fortune. Beckett must also wait for everyone else to pass away because he is the youngest. Mary makes sure to give Beckett culture, elegance, and style despite their financial difficulties. Even as a young child, he wears suits and learns to play the piano and archery. Beckett meets Julia in an archery class and falls in love with her right away. Beckett is middle class, and Julia, who is rich, is not impressed by him. He tells her that he will inherit a lot of money one day. Julia attends Beckett's piano concert after they become friends. She kisses him and holds his hand when the lights go out, but as soon as the lights come back on, she pulls away. Mary becomes extremely ill while Beckett is still a child and, after ignoring the symptoms, ends up in the hospital. Beckett looks to her family for support, but no one ever calls or visits. Mary tells him he deserves better and makes a promise that he won't give up until he has the ideal life. Her last wish before death is to be buried at the family plot, but the family never sends an answer, so her body ends up in a regular cemetery. Holding a lock of her hair, Beckett watches her being buried and vows to demand his proper place in the family home. Beckett rings the doorbell at the Redfellow mansion the next day. A letter delivered by the butler is the only answer. It isn't even signed, and it states icily that they are unable to assist him. Beckett then loses all contact with Julia and ends up spending a long time in the foster care system. Beckett works as a suit salesman as an adult. Nobody ever dies while he is keeping an eye on the Redfellows. Beckett is shocked to see Julia at the suit store one day. She has been all over the world and is still very rich. Sadly, she is engaged when he tries to ask her out. She asks what happened to the Redfellow fortune as she is leaving. Julia tells Beckett to call her after he kills them all because he claims he will inherit it someday. Beckett remembers the promise he made as he examines a locket containing Mary's hair later at home. It's finally time to take action against the 7 Redfellows in front of him. Taylor, a broker at the family's financial company, is the first. Taylor's frequent presence in the financial district's bars makes it easy for Beckett to locate him. He decides to abandon the plan to kill his cousin after realizing it is absurd. The next day, Beckett's supervisor informs him that he will be transferred to the shipping center because his son will take over as salesman. Beckett ends up losing his job because he doesn't want to work in a warehouse. This finally breaks something in him. Later, Taylor takes a helicopter to a party and throws dollar bills at the guests before diving into the pool. The doors are wide open, making it easy for Beckett to sneak into this party. Observing Taylor take his jet ski to a yacht gives him inspiration. Additionally, Beckett boards a jet ski and travels to the yacht, where Taylor believes he is an employee. Beckett waits until Taylor is asleep before tying the anchor to his ankle after making sure no one else is on the yacht. Before he throws the anchor into the water, he has only a split second of hesitation. Taylor awakens at that precise moment, but it's too late. He drowns after being pulled into the sea by the rope. Beckett realizes that killing is actually that simple, which gives him a rush as he leaves on the jet ski. Beckett meets Taylor's father, Warren, when she attends the funeral a few days later. Warren is shocked to learn that Beckett is Mary's son and takes him to the bar for a drink. Warren apologizes for not supporting Mary and acknowledges that she was very courageous to confront their father. Since he should have put an end to his son's bad habits sooner, he also feels bad about Taylor's death. Warren then takes Beckett to his office and offers him Taylor's job, which Beckett accepts with pleasure. The chaotic life of a financial office and how the rich make their money are taught to Beckett over the next few weeks. He must learn a lot of new vocabulary and information, and he realizes that doing so will help him eventually manage his own fortune. Beckett is surprised to receive a call from Julia, who has just returned from her honeymoon one evening. She says he should ask her out again and remembers their last meeting. Beckett does this only for Julia to turn him down once more, but she still hopes that they will run into each other soon. Noah, an artist who spends his days blogging about his work, is the next victim. Beckett observes Noah's lack of artistic knowledge as she watches the videos. Because he has the family money to live on, he can only say his job is to be an artist. Beckett pretends to be a huge fan when she attends Noah's art show one evening. Beckett also tells Noah about their cousins after he has fallen for it. As he continues to take pictures throughout the gallery, Noah chooses to listen to his story and repeat more absurd statements about art. Following the performance, Noah shows Beckett his workshop and takes him to his apartment. Over dinner, Beckett also meets Ruth, Noah's secret girlfriend, and they find they have a lot in common. Ruth extends an invitation to Beckett to attend their dinner party on Thursday just as he is ready to leave. On Thursday, Ruth and Beckett can't stop looking at each other over dinner. Beckett ends up going to Noah's workshop while everyone is preoccupied. To make it appear as though Noah had an accident while mixing, he combines the chemicals used for photographic developing with a cleaning product he has already hidden in the apartment. In addition, he drops a cigarette on the ground and breaks the light bulb. Beckett is taking too long in the bathroom, so Noah goes to find him. He thus sees him leaving the workshop. Noah is so moved by Beckett's pretension that he ends up looking for a picture from the show and signs it for him. Beckett discards the picture in the trash after the party is over. They share a kiss after he waits in a corner for Ruth to find him. Noah goes into his workshop and tries to turn on the light in the meantime. A spark from the broken light bulb causes an explosion, which kills Noah right away. Beckett is approached by two FBI agents on the day of the funeral, who take him to a bar for questioning. He tells them about Mary and ends by saying he's not sure if he will ever inherit the money. The agents clarify that the FBI has certain procedures to follow when two family members pass away simultaneously. They are simply being cautious for the time being. Warren makes a toast at work to commemorate Beckett's first client 10 months after Taylor's death. He gives him his own office after being very impressed by how fast he picked things up. Later, Beckett is surprised to be visited by Julia, who says her husband is broke and she needs a loan. But because he's thinking about Ruth, Beckett doesn't play along when he sees her flirting. Julia leaves because she doesn't like him in this way. Although she initially wonders about the two deaths and who will be the next men. Beckett will make a killing, she adds. Stephen, a pastor who puts on spiritual shows to deceive people and obtain their money while saying it's for God, is the next man in the family line. He sued his former business manager and was charged with money laundering in 2 different countries. He has many enemies as a result. One day, Beckett sends his assistant to get a hot dog and asks him to switch suits. Then, pretending to be a reporter from a Christian magazine, he ends up at Stephen's show and approaches him in his office. Beckett waits until Stephen turns away before he puts something in his supplement men drink while they talk. In an instant, Stephen says he wants the truth and grabs a katana and holds it against Beckett's neck. Stephen is suspicious because it turns out that Beckett's name belongs to a reporter who retired months ago. Stephen becomes so enraged by Beckett's pretense that he ends up hitting the decorations on his desk. Beckett acknowledges that Stephen is his cousin when he threatens him with the sword once more. As soon as he calms down, Stephen apologizes and says he believed Beckett was a reporter from another newspaper who was attempting to expose him. After that, Stephen takes a sip from his drink and experiences a heart attack. It is discovered that Stephen used workout supplements that, if taken in excess, could kill a man. Beckett filled his cup with extra as a result. The death is kept under wraps because the church does not want an investigation. In the meantime, Beckett continues to see Ruth as a friend in order to give her time. She confesses to herself one day that she had intended to end her relationship with Noah following the dinner party, and she now feels bad for not mourning or missing him. They agree to have dinner together at Beckett's house after he tells her that it's normal to feel that way. When Beckett returns home in the evening, he is shocked to see Julia in his living room. She complains about ignoring her calls and emails and reveals that she stole his key when she visited him at the office. She approaches him and flirts with him, almost kissing him, because he refuses to share information about his life. The doorbell rings at that precise moment, and Beckett throws Julia out the back door. Then he runs into Ruth and tells her that he was having problems in the kitchen, so he takes her out instead. They have a good time at the restaurant, and Ruth discusses her life goals, claiming that people aren't taught to have modest dreams. Beckett realizes that his life is going rather well over the course of the next few weeks. He has a fantastic job, lots of friends at work, and a developing romantic relationship, but it would feel wasteful to give up now. He keeps ignoring Julia when she calls. Cassandra, who is renowned for adopting 11 children from 11 different countries, is the next in the family line. On the news, she appears to be a devoted mother. However, she ignores the kids and lets the servants handle all the work in private. She installs a laser-based security system in each of her 4 houses after hearing about the 3 deaths. But every Tuesday, she visits a spa without security. Beckett manages to sneak into the spa one afternoon and pretends to be an employee. Cassandra accepts his offer of a free teeth whitening procedure without hesitation and puts the device in her mouth. Because Beckett used carbamide peroxide on the device, an agent that is so similar to that found in teeth whiteners, the police believe she purchased an off-brand product during her most recent adoption trip, which is why she dies. The next victim is MacArthur, who is making plans to travel to the moon and owns half of the National Air and Space Museum. While his employees lack health insurance, reporters call him out for spending so much money to travel to the moon. Beckett pretends to be a member of his crew and covertly adds a sedative to his coffee. When MacArthur takes off in his own plane, he dozes off at the controls and the aircraft crashes, killing him. Beckett relocates to an opulent apartment after some time. Ruth agrees after some hesitation when he asks if she wants to live with him. Warren is the next red guy in line, but Beckett can't bring himself to kill his uncle because he has grown to love and respect him. In addition, he acknowledges that he is content with his life and even proposes to Ruth. Beckett is approached by the FBI agents once more one morning. He pretends to be shocked when they tell him he could be an heir. He tells the agents he was getting a hot dog on the day of Stephen's death when they question him about his activities. Later, when the agents review the security footage, they notice that Beckett's employee is dressed in his clothes. They agree to make an agent follow him because they can't tell if it's him and don't think anyone could recall eating a hot dog on a specific day months ago. After some time, Beckett is leaving the office when suddenly Warren passes out from a heart attack behind him. Warren says that Beckett is the only man who has visited him while Beckett is taking care of him at the hospital. Warren tells him to spend time with his loved ones before he passes away because work won't be there for him. Beckett realizes that his grandfather is the last survivor during the funeral. Beckett's grandfather invites him to the mansion in a letter that he receives a few days later. He calls Ruth and promises to be there in time for his engagement party, which is today. Julia is waiting with a surprise for Beckett when he arrives at his office. Now that she has photographic proof of Beckett's crimes, she made someone follow him. After Taylor drowned, she became suspicious because he had received a swimming scholarship to Princeton. Julia asks for $300,000 by 5 o'clock or she'll send Ruth the pictures. After telling his assistant to sell some of his stocks, a desperate Beckett runs out of the office. When the FBI agent spots him, he keeps following him. He then storms into Julia's husband Lyle's office, who continues to drink because he is poor. Lyle makes fun of Beckett for acting like a fancy man despite coming from a low-income background while he moves some items on the table and writes the checks. Beckett then gives him a slap. Lyle tries to punch him, but Beckett easily knocks him down because he's drunk, and Lyle sobs uncontrollably on the ground like a baby. After that, Beckett texts Ruth to let her know he will be late after arriving at the Redfellow mansion, but the message is not delivered. Beckett meets his grandfather Whitlaw, who wonders what shady deals Beckett got to advance so fast in the financial industry, while Ruth attends to all the guests. Whitelaw also wonders if Beckett can live this kind of life because it can make someone feel lonely and regret. When Beckett asks why he didn't help Mary, Whitelaw doesn't answer. He reveals that Mary was his favorite child. Beckett is then shown a gun that has been in the family for many generations by Whitelaw. He asks Beckett to put an end to it after loading it and giving it to him. He leaves after Beckett points the gun at him because he lacks the courage to do so. But when he gets outside, the butler is blocking the front door and it is locked. He then tries the windows in a different room, but they are likewise locked. When Beckett opens the door after hearing a noise, he finds White firing at him. The shot scrapes his arm as he avoids it. Beckett takes a piece of wood and stabs Whitelaw in the leg after it breaks the door as well. Whitelaw pursues Beckett as he attempts to flee and continues to shoot as he explains that the butler has sealed all doors. Beckett locates a bow and prepares an arrow in an upstairs room. He tries to shoot Whitelaw when he arrives, but the bow breaks. Beckett picks up a fresh bow and shoots once more, this time successfully striking his grandfather's chest with an arrow. He shoots a second arrow into Whitelaw's neck while he's still moving, ultimately killing him. Ironically, Beckett believes that his last murder was a self-defense action. He tells the police exactly what happened when they arrive, and the FBI agent observes him from a distance before he is allowed to leave. The party is over and Ruth is upset by the time Beckett makes it home. He only tells her about his encounter with Whitelaw when she demands to know what he has been keeping from her. Beckett and Ruth are then invited to a large party where they are welcomed into the socialite lifestyle after Beckett inherits the family fortune. Ruth feels uncomfortable at the table, but Beckett is delighted. The party is unfortunately interrupted by the FBI, who take him into custody for the murder of Lyle. Beckett has been apprehended for the one murder he did not commit after all of this. His fingerprints are on the murder weapon, a letter opener he touched while moving items on the table, and they have security footage of him storming into Lyle's office. After discovering Lee's body, Julia testifies against Beckett, claiming that he has been in love with her his entire life. Ruth is forced to leave the courthouse as a result. Beckett receives a death sentence after being found guilty. Julia pays Beckett a visit prior to the execution. He tells her that he would rather die than be with her. Beckett goes bonkers after Julia reveals that Lyle left a farewell note, but she refuses to share it. Beckett begs until Julia agrees to assist him in return for his fortune. Just before leaving, she kisses the glass. Beckett then asks for a priest and has a lawyer send him the paperwork so he can give everything to Julia. Beckett tells the priest that he is at ease in the present because Julia will soon free him. But Beckett is growing anxious as hours go by with no updates. As a farewell, the priest chooses to read him a passage about death from the Bible. Fortunately, he is interrupted by a guard who says Beckett is now free. Beckett finds Ruth waiting for him when he leaves the prison while the police show the media the note Lyle left. Before leaving in her car, she gives him the locket containing his mother's hair. Beckett leaves with Julia, who is waiting nearby. The priest must keep the story a secret due to confessional rules, but he will live with her in a large mansion. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.